Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, please don't do me. Do not do me. Okay, don't do me. Hey, I am Tasharia. This is
Tasha,
and we are the Turners.
the Turner Talks podcast.
And welcome to Turner Talk Podcast.
Live.
Aww. Too much. Thank y'all for coming in. We welcome you all to the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. We have Miss Lillie. When I first met Miss Lillie, let me tell y'all something. I was like, I believe the children are future. Pitch them well and let them lead the way. She was just so inspirational. We were like, yes. And then we need her on the podcast.
Well, she touched me that day. Every time I talk to her, you get something from her.
Yeah.
I mean, it's deep too.
Yeah.
It's deep.
We couldn't just keep her to ourselves. So we wanted to bring her on the Turner Talk podcast so we can let Miss Lillie tell us, share with the world her experience, who she is, what she about, and all of that. So, Miss Lillie, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself to the Turner Talk podcast audience?
Sure. Hello. Welcome. Thank y'all so much, first of all, for having me. I'm glad to be here. X nerves, okay? So if y'all see it, ignore it. We're going to keep on moving.
Keep it moving. Mm-hmm.
But I am Lillie, as they said, and I am a teacher educator. I love what I do. I love that they use teacher/educator because outside of the classroom, that's what I enjoy doing, spreading wisdom and educating people on more than just a book, but life experiences as a whole. So hopefully tonight, that's what you all will get some of. Well, I know you will, not hopefully. You will.
Oh, they going to get some because we got some. And this was back in August when we met you?
Yes.
In August. And you stayed on our mind, and I'm glad we stayed on your mind.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did.
Yeah, you dropped some knowledge. You dropped a whole bunch of stuff that night.
But we were talking. We initially started talking, and we was like, I said something. I was like, my mom used to say, "Ain't a word. Ain't isn't a word." And she said, "Well, actually," and then one of y'all said that. I was like, said it at the same time. I was like, wait a minute, when did they do this? But anyway,
a student challenged you on it. You said we're not going to use words that's not in the dictionary.
Right. And that student said, well, actually, Miss Washington, it is in the dictionary. And I said, well, show me. And they went and got it and brought me the dictionary. And I said, ooh. So we got to use ain't, y'all. It's in there.
It's in there. Okay.
So we ain't going to leave it out. We're going to use it.
Oh,
no, we got to use it.
No. But that's the thing about it. We learn and grow and develop and continue over time. And when we stop learning, that is like a death of our soul. You know what I'm saying? So how did you tell us where you're from, how you got into education and all that?
Okay, awesome.
We're just gonna jump right on in.
I'm gonna go in there. So here I am. I am from Mississippi, born and raised. Currently in the Big T. It's okay. So I guess as a kid, I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. I guess teachers were my role models and so forth. So just wanting to, that song that you were singing, I Believe the Children Are the Future. That was one of my favorites as I grew older. So just a little journey. I'm not going to go too in deep. But I wound up being a high school dropout. So I had to go back and get my GED. And so one of the things that I wanted to do was pour into other people and kids to either push, because I didn't have that push like I needed. As a matter of fact, I actually had a teacher to tell me every time I try to come back, why are you coming back? You should just stay at home. Just go get your GED. You have so much potential, but you're just not using it. So that stuck with me for years. And I wanted to be that difference in another child's life. So they never had to hear those words. And if they did, they could still hear words that would kind of offset that to say, look, your setback is not your final destination. It's not the end. You continue. So come on, let's continue this journey together. So that's what got me in there. That and my love for children. I love kids. I always have had a house full of kids, me and my husband. So with that, I started school. on that degree in 2004. Y'all, it took me 16 years. I just got my bachelor's this year in education. I was already able to work in education, thankfully, with like my classes that I had. So, but this year I am going all the way.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
That's what I'm talking about. That is that's like perseverance at its finest. You know what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of people be like, well, dog, it's taking too long. I'm just gonna be like, oh, I'm tired. I don't want to go no more. Because I had what was that? I was doing a personal trainer certification. I was like, ugh, look, I feel like I'm about to get a PhD or something. And so, yeah, that is, and I love that, despite what, was told to you, you still just continued and continued and continued. That's what, that's what I admire so very much. You say you from Mississippi and you have a house full of children. You have a house full of children. How many children do you have of your own? And like,
got get the other.
Well, for me, I am married for 22 years this year. Yay. We're going into our 23rd year, I should say. We have 2 beautiful children, one girl that is 11 and one boy that is 2. Yep, that big gap, y'all. I'm at it again, man. 4 years from empty nesting almost. Well, no, probably about 8 years. And I'm starting over. So it's a long time now for empty nesters. And what else she say? I think that's it. Yeah, the kids. I only have 2 in the house.
And you've been married for 23 years. And like you were saying, 22 years
into 23. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you
Yeah, I already claimed. Go ahead and claim it.
When we were talking that day in school, and like you say, you dropped out of school, you got your GED, and you end up with a bachelor's degree. And I told you before, I said, I like to talk to people that have maybe gone through either what I'm going through or what somebody else is going through. If you've never been through it, how can you tell me what it's like and how I can go through? Like I told you, I want to know how you got over what you got over, Right. And that's why we all connected, because your story was real deep. Like you say, your marriage, and everybody know relationships, especially marriages, are not easy. You're 2 different people. Like us, we're both women, but we're way 2 different people. Heterosexual, same-sex marriages. It's a work. It's work constantly. Every day it's work. And how would you go about sharing that with the 22 years experience that we're one in a few months in?
And I already be like, I'm gonna choke you out. That's all right.
Oh, don't think I don't get there sometimes.
I'll choke out, but I'll bring her back. We both know CPR, so we can choke each other out and bring each other back.
I can't live without you. That's it. I need you in my life. Exactly. But I guess I would say first and foremost is you cannot be selfish. And a lot of times I have to check myself. Let me just say, because I believe that the cost for any divorce, I don't care what problem you say, finances, infidelity, whatever it is, if you go back, it's selfishness. Somewhere somebody made a selfish choice and was not willing to hear the side of the other person. So definitely always check yourself and be considerate of other people. In the same way with our topic tonight, I would always say, watch your focus. Don't focus on that issue that you have that is making you want to choke a person out. Like you regroup, understand that person is not perfect. That's what I had to come to realize in my marriage. When my husband did things that were not pleasing to me or didn't make me feel very well about it, I had to realize, and I think it was always God that would come to me and let me know, you're judging him, but that's not always him. Sometimes we make decisions based on experiences, our past. One of the first things we had to do to really flip and change was get rid of those generational curses. We had to stop and realize, okay, what am I doing that my dad did or that my mom did, and now I'm carrying it on over into my marriage? The same thing for him. And when we figured out what those were, we just kind of really said, okay, well, we can't do this. So how are we going to do something different? What are we going to do different? But that's been our key. Those two, definitely. Well, three.
And communication is as far as communication. I know people get into arguments. How do y'all solve like issues or problems that you have as far as communication?
As far as communication, well, it really just depends on the subject or what the issue is going on. So sometimes we do, I like to call them hiccups. We got a little hiccup going on. You know, those hiccups are uncomfortable and they can last for a while, but they go away. So what we'll do sometimes, if it's a hiccup, allow each other the time and the space. It's really kind of more so him than me, because I'm ready to talk right now. And he like, I'm not talking. And he will shut completely down. So I had to learn, I can't be mad. That's who he is. He want to shut down. And he has that right. But we came to a conclusion, and we still struggle with this, y'all, that we would not let it go without talking about it. And we still, like I say, we're not perfect. So sometimes we still let it go, but definitely finding that that middle. I also recommend, if you have somebody that you know values and trust, that you can trust, and they value you and your relationship or your marriage, allow them in to be the mediator, because sometimes you need somebody that'll stand in, and it's not going to take one side, but they're going to tell you what's right and continue to guide you.
Yeah, because what's right is right and wrong is wrong. You know, because if you don't need a whole bunch of yes people. Yes, you know, oops, God dog it. You don't need a whole bunch of yes people in your corner, because you never get the truth.
You don't grow.
And that's why I was telling Tasha, I said, you have to understand that, like, we have to meet people where they are. And, you know, sometimes your group or whatever don't grow with you. So you have to, you know, move forward or you'll be stuck. But in the same sense, we cannot expect for people to be how we are, or do what we're going to do, act how we're going to act, respond how we're going to respond. So then we just have to embrace those people or not have them in our lives whatsoever. You know what I mean?
Right. You have to understand, you really hit key there when you said meet a person where they are, because a lot of times we have expectations of the other person. And they don't even know the expectation that you have, or they can't meet the expectation because they only know what they know, where they are in the place that they're in. So you got to be willing to meet them there, communicate those things effectively, and you'll definitely see growth.
And it's like our relationship, we're both women. So some of the things that women should know, I don't know a lot of. You know what I told her when we first got together? I don't clean. You know, I'm not a real big clean.
You know, you hear that, but they're like, okay, really? You
and
know?
let me fix that up.
You.
My house have been cleaned, but I wasn't the cleaner. That makes sense. I want people to feel like, oh, she's nasty. She lives.
Yes.
Let me explain what I'm saying. But as we moved in together, and I'm living here, and she's seeing that. Yeah, she wasn't lying. She was like, "What's wrong with service?
I'm like, I'm not paying them to come in here and dust around stuff. They need to move here. When I clean, I'm moving everything out the way. I'm cleaning it. I'm dusting everything before I put the stuff back up there. I ain't got time for that. I'm not going to pay somebody to come in here and straighten up. Nah.
And see, she expects me to know how to move everything and clean up. No, I straighten. If it's a chair sitting there, why sweep up under? Ain't nobody under that chair. I'm gonna sweep around. No, sweep around. Clean, but move something.
You see what you see.
That's a hot mess. On the thumbnail, we put chasing fame or freedom. Tell us more about. Tell the audience, because we already know we talk. So tell the audience more about chasing fame or freedom, and how you know how that just came to you. Okay.
Yes. So sure. I'm gonna backtrack just a little bit, and then I'll bring us back up to today. Well, I guess I'll start midways, go back and come back. But anyway, maybe about 2 weeks now, I was at work. And as an educator at this particular school where I work, our APs, assistant principal and principal, is always in our classroom. It's not a bad thing. They're always in there to observe, to make sure that we are on track. And they'll stop you and cut you off. And we have this whole chat in teams. And this chat is like a, sending shout outs and congratulations to teachers when they come in their rooms and they're doing this and they're doing great things and so forth. So somebody visited my room and I just didn't feel like I was getting the praise that I desired or that I wanted in this chat. And so I was like, every time they come in my room, I always get the negativity feedback. There's always something going on. We call them grow and glows. So I always get the grows, but not really the glows. So I immediately in my mind began to think, I'm going to be looking in this chat every day for my name, when I'm going to see my name. And I had to stop. And I said, no, we're not doing that. I'm comfortable and confident in who I am and what I do. So therefore, I don't need to chase the fame that is in this chat. The congratulations or you did good or this. No, I just got to stay confident in who I am, because the moment, and I said, I'll remove that chat from my phone before I allow it to be the driving force of my life. Hear me when I say driving force. And that's what I mean by, are you chasing the fame? Because if I continue to look for the congratulations and the shout out, I'm looking for that fame. But there's so much freedom when I just move in confidence in what I know to be right. Because I can't be who the next person wants me to be. One of my favorite songs is I can't be nobody but me, and that's all I can be. I can't be who you want me to be, because that ain't me. That's
you
got to record that.
So with that, I had to really stop, and it took me back to and this, now I'm gonna go backwards into where I used to be. So maybe about 8 years ago, first moved to Texas, I found myself in a dark place. Just, I didn't really have connections here. We didn't have any family. So I just kind of started feeling like, I guess, lonely. So from there it went to, I'm not happy with the job that I have. I'm not happy with not having, because I'm a social butterfly. And so all that changed. And so I would do things like take a walk to try to feel better. And one day I took this walk and I was getting in the car. I remember like it was yesterday. And I heard the Holy Spirit speak and say, now walk with me. So then I got back, I said, okay, because I usually listen to like some motivational speaker while I'm walking. But this particular time, I put my phone away to not be distracted, because, you know, according to my faith, that's who that was speaking to me. For some, it might be the universe. For some, it may be whatever you believe. But for me and my faith, I knew that that was the Holy Spirit speaking to me. And I knew from experience, he wanted to tell me something. So as I walked shortly after, I heard, now will you give up all that fame for me? For me. And so I was like, okay. And I began to tear. But one thing I asked was, well, how did I get to this place? Because in order for me to give it up, I got to know how I got here, right? I don't even know what to give up, because it's become a norm for me. And a lot of times in our life, chasing fame becomes norm, and we don't even realize we're doing it. But then when we feel some kind of way, we want to know, why do I feel like this? Or what's wrong? Or we slip into what many say is depression, right? Because you're not comfortable with where you are. So anyway, I went into what I called a rehab, and I asked, and he did reveal to me when I was about 11 years old at church. I had my youth pastor to read my journal, and it said that in there I was talking about me already having sexual intercourse. And so they felt like I didn't need to be a part of the youth group. And these were anywhere from 6th to 12th grade. You didn't need to be in here because you're doing things that's not godly, right? Not somebody taking my hand and holding it. But it didn't bother me, because y'all, I was so free. And I had such a free spirit that it didn't bother me. So I kept going. And I said, well, when can I come back? And he said, when you prove yourself. And this is what the Lord revealed to me, when you prove yourself. And from that point on, I went on a journey of proving myself, because I don't know what you want me to prove. I don't know what that looks like. You know, just I was in the church faking the spirit sometime and acting like I'm laughing and I'm dancing. And I had to repent of those things because I didn't know what prove myself looked like. But I fell into a category of chasing the fame. At that point, I felt like, okay, I can never get back in here because nothing I do is good enough. And I never got back. They never accepted me back. So anyway, with that, my life started to just be like a tree. And the more I chased the fame, those leaves were just falling off. My freedom leaves. So I was no longer free. So then I started to do all kind of things that were not acceptable. It should not have been acceptable. And all these things were revealed to me in that period. So I thought I just had a whole issue with being faithful. I needed that man to want me. And I felt accepted when I laid down with that man in that moment. That was the fame. Like he liked me. Somebody liked me. Or I would get somebody's information, some juicy gossip, and I would take it back to somebody else just because in that moment, y'all like this information that I'm giving. It made me feel good. And I'm feeling accepted. They like me. And I didn't care about the consequences. So with that being said, I began the journey of, well, what does freedom look like? What does that look like? So I had to do a self-discovery. And in one of those things that was revealed to me, we're like puzzle pieces. And we fit where we're supposed to fit. When you're putting a puzzle together, you can't put the piece at the top that go in the middle because it's not going to fit. You can take it and turn it all kind of ways to try to make it fit, but it doesn't fit unless it belongs there.
That part.
So I knew who I was. I began to understand my place in one, God and who he said I was. And then two, who is Lillie? Who are you right now? What is your puzzle piece? And so from that, I just started to think about all those things. I never had so let me just say this. You know how sometimes we do things or we make decisions because our parents, my mom, told me that I'm not, I'm supposed to eat broccoli, but I don't like broccoli for real, but because she told me I've been eating it. Well, I don't eat chitlins because my mama never ate chitlins. So does that mean I don't really like chitlins? Okay, maybe I should go try chitlins on my own to see. So I began to just rediscover those things that Lillie liked. And I started to find that freedom. So I started to chase that more. And the more I chased that, that's when I went back to school. And come on, somebody, because that's me. That's me. I don't need nobody to tell me what I can do and what I can be. So I got that. So then I began to go even to where I work now and just be me. And the relationships that I've built are the conversations that I've had with people are not on my level. They're higher. You see, when I was chasing fame, I would hang out with people that I call misfits. Those people that, like the teacher said, you ain't gonna never be nothing. You might as well drop out. People that felt like they would never come up and be anything. I would hang out with them and those would be my circle. Why? Because I felt like I knew a little more than them. So I feel important in these moments. But once I started chasing that freedom, y'all, if you wrote a book, y'all on this podcast, you couldn't ask me to come on here. I'm not worthy enough. I didn't feel like I was good enough because when I felt good, I was knocked down. But now, when I started chasing that freedom, look, I can be on anybody's platform. And that's who began to recognize me. People that were on higher levels. And it allowed me to know when you're free, your name is mentioned in places and in rooms you don't even have to go in.
That part.
The piece will fit where it's supposed to fit. So that's how I came up with that.
Yeah, when you operating on low vibration, that's what you tend to attract, the low vibrational people and energy, And so what I said, when you said that, I thought about that song. Experience is a good teacher. It takes someone like. I'm not gonna play with you. You know what song I'm talking about. You know that song. It must be in the wrong key. the audience know what I'm talking about.
I knew
They
her
know
point.
what I'm talking about.
I knew where you was going. I knew where you were.
Thank you.
I thought she had wrote it herself.
Oh,
Who sing that song? Okay, stop playing with me. You don't know what I'm talking. You gotta put some respect on my singing. Okay.
that's why I said send me the link. Send me the
No,
link.
because you will chase it. Because they say, like, if you are the top person in your peer group, then it's time to elevate. It's time to do something else. Somebody should always know more, have more experience, have more knowledge, and can expand you. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that's important. But I love that you said about that freedom. I just see butterflies and see that growth and see that development and see that beauty of, continuously evolving. Yeah.
And we was talking one time, and she said, "You know what? I like because you don't care what people think about you." And I like you say, I came from a place of I like women, but I came from a place where, in a time where it wasn't cool to do that. I'm from a small little country town. But after a while, you say, okay, am I going to live the rest of my life making you happy, or am I going to live the rest of my life making me happy?
That's
you
it.
over there happy, and I'm over here living my life, but you over there living your truth.
That's it.
So it comes a time when you say, hey, guess what? I just gotta be me. And on my page, and I was telling my wife on my Facebook page, I didn't even have a Facebook page until I was chasing her. So I was so when I got the Facebook page, we got married. I'm going to put my life out there because guess what? That right there can maybe help some other child from where I'm from, the town that I'm in, to come out and say, hey, if Tasha doing it and it's okay, you know what? I'm about to live my truth. And I believe in that. You got to live your truth. You have to live who you are, not for everybody else.
Yes, that's so true. And that's the freedom, because it feels so much better when you live in your truth instead of trying to live in somebody else's truth. Because one thing I've realized too, even though now I'm free and I'm doing it differently, people still don't like me.
There you go.
They still don't like me. You know, they don't like me because I'm me. So why am I chasing that for that?
Other people like you. They don't like you because of this. They don't like you because of that. Hey,
if people don't like you, that means you're doing something right.
Something
That's
right.
the way I look at it.
Yep.
That's it. That's freedom.
Right.
Yeah, because if you weren't, you wouldn't even garner that attention. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
Yes.
So are you going to come out with a book? Because you're able, with your story, you're able to help other young ladies, young women, even grown women that may be still stuck in that I have to do this to find love, to find attention. You know, I mean, there's a lot of young women out there that's like that. They may not be getting it at home, so they're finding it in other areas. And like you say, if somebody was laying down with you, that meant they loved you or they were attracted to you. You know, I mean, sex is, like I always tell people, sex is the easiest thing to get. You can get sex when you can't get nothing to eat.
I know that's real.
So a lot of young ladies need to hear that and know that they are worth more than that. That there's somebody out there that's actually going to love them, not for just what they're doing for them in that 5 or 6 minutes, but you know, forever.
So true. I do plan, and I have been working on it. Just stay on me, okay? Don't.
We will.
Okay. We'll say that. I have some of it written. I just need to be consistent with it, because you're right. There are people that need to hear. And sometimes just knowing that somebody else, and I think we talked about this, knowing that somebody else has gone through and overcome what you have makes them feel hopeful in their situation. Like, oh, wait, okay. So yeah, I do plan on coming out also just with like practical steps that you can take, like how I went into the rehab, and I literally, and I call it rehab because I needed to detox from that fame, chasing the fame. But just things like that, and what I did in those moments when I sat down, you know, that is also a big thing for me, because it's so easy. Like church, a lot of us go to church, and when we leave, we good for that Sunday because the word was good, but the next day, it's like, okay, what do I do now? I feel like churches need to shift. We need to start giving homework and practical steps. You can't just talk to people today because a lot of us, our attention span is short anyway.
Yes.
You said this, I heard that, but then the next thing you said, I didn't hear that, but then I came back in, but okay. But when
I'm sitting up there wondering when the choir gonna sing again.
Oh my Lord.
We
talk about that too, because I said all these little short videos get like huge views, and you actually sitting up talking about something and you get a couple of views. Be like, wait a minute. So you gotta be able to try to fit your whole message in 30 seconds to a minute to people. That's just ridiculous to me, and that's why I sit and the children have to read 20 minutes consecutively. You gonna have an attention span, sir, ma'am, whoever, okay? Because you have to train the brain. Your brain will do what you teach it to do. It will believe what you teach it to believe. So if you teach it to believe that you're not able, you're not capable, that's what it's gonna do, and that's what it's gonna be. But if you teach it that it's a, why you just sitting up there looking at me? I'm sitting up there. I'm trying to think if I'm doing that. I'm like, sometimes I'll be in it, then I'll be like, what am I gonna do? I gotta bring myself back. But we talking about. I started reading this book by Joe Dispenza about the power of the subconscious mind. And a lot of times, if we waiting on somebody to come save us, and I heard this story one time that I was like, I think it was about Jesus or something. They said, God, can you send me a husband? And then your repairman come, and God, I'm still waiting on that husband. And then the God that said, you run into somebody at the store. Oh, excuse me, sir. And then you go on, and then somebody else come, and whatever, and you go to heaven. You mean God, why you ain't never send me no husband? I sent a plumber. I sent them dudes. Now you got women out there messing up their plumbing, so they can get the plumber. I said all these folks, but you didn't recognize. You didn't give them an opportunity. You didn't formulate that. You didn't cultivate that type of situation. Yeah, and not all the time you find them in church, because people are like, I'm gonna go to church and find me a husband or wife. I'll be right. Or you might get a better one in the club. Oh Lord. Not in the club. In the club, right? A better one in the club. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Being single, I don't know if I would look for my man in the church either if I was. But you know, it's church, and we talk about it all the time. Church to me is not what it used to be. It's more to me of a money, and I don't want to say this about all churches, but some of them have come to where it's a money-making business and not a saving soul business. And I know you're responsible for your own soul, but you're going there because, like I was telling her, people, especially with COVID-19, people are searching for something. People are needing answers. People are just looking for something. And I feel that a lot of the churches have taken advantage of that. And I am not one. I hadn't, her cousin's little baby got christened, and I hadn't been in church for about maybe 20 years. And I went that day, and this has been about a few months ago. Like I was telling them, past 10 years, and no, I don't practice it, but I started studying Buddhism, and I call myself Buddhist because I found more peace in Buddhism than I did going to church. I went to a Baptist church. That's what I grew up in. I went to Church of Christ, where they don't have any music. Oh yeah. Hymnals. I said if they sang one more hymnal, I gotta let go and say God. Don't say that. I love the hymnal because I can know because otherwise I don't know the words. I know the words. I don't know the words. Everybody got a hymnal, but everybody on a different key, a different verse. Them hymns were the truth now. Holiness Church, they scared me. So I was going everywhere looking for something. And I found the Buddhist teacher in Walmart, out of all places, in Walmart. And we started talking. And when I started listening and doing a little studying, that's where I found my peace, And it wasn't not church is not, I don't want to put this out there. Okay, watch what you say. Church ain't for everybody. You know what I'm saying? You got some heathens up in that joker. But then I found that, and like that, her aunt told me not too long ago that preachers are human too. Yeah. They're going to sin and fall short of the glory. Is that it? They're going to sin and fall short of the glory. But in my mind, it's like, okay,
let's say I do drugs, and then I tell my kid, you don't need to do drugs. To me, how can you really do that? How can I tell you not to do something? I'm sitting over here with a needle in my arm, stuff, white stuff all over my nose. And that's how I felt that the preacher was. So many of them were out doing X, Y, Z, but you sitting there the next morning or Sunday morning telling your congregation, you going to hell. Well, I just saw you doing it with me too.
So you going with me, right?
Right there, a lot of churches, I'm going to church, but I'm not getting anything out of it because I'm sitting there like, how you gonna tell me how to get to heaven when you're not doing what you need to do to get there?
Yeah. Well, I think you said her aunt. I think what she was saying, just to add to that, what I've learned is like what you said, we're responsible for our own salvation. So when I go to churches, I really, because of my experience, I think most of all, I stay away from the pastor. I don't want to know his personal or her personal information. I want to know less as possible. But what I do respect and value and what I do look for in a church when I'm looking for a church home is a pastor that can be real and tell me that I had a drink last night, because I'm still, but I feel you. Don't criticize what I do. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's okay for us to pray ye for one another.
Yeah.
Yeah, I respect the real, because one thing I've learned because of my experience and what happened to me, one thing I've learned is you can't judge a book by what you see, by the cover. Yeah. Because I was immediately judged when really what I needed was help.
Yeah.
I really needed somebody to take my hand and walk with me. And a lot of times pastors have to hide their stuff, but they're going to battle with just as much as we do,
Exactly. And see, that's my whole thing about it too. And for me, I don't know, because she was looking at me, I love Lord. She be like, and because I feel like I have to believe that there's something higher, there's something greater than I. And maybe that's where my strength comes from. Like I can't say I swear to God, but I promise y'all, God be telling me stuff, be like, girl, don't go that way, don't go. And then I miss something, or I just be protected. Don't worry, my child. You know what I'm saying? But my whole thing is, you don't look at the person, look at the message, because the message may be coming through, because God used so many different vessels to deliver a word or to do whatever the case may be. You may be missing. What they say, you can't see the sunshine from the stars or something like that. You can't see the forest from the trees.
From the trees, that's it.
Don't even worry about it. And that's the whole thing. I was like, that's my little church hurt came from. I was thinking that the church would be more supportive, but you know what? The church don't owe me nothing. I don't owe me nothing. Okay, so then I had to have that's why they say you have to develop a personal relationship with God, your creator, your maker, whoever you believe in, because man can't do it for you. All they're supposed to do is provide you with a little bit of guidance to whatever road you on, because otherwise
you'll be lost. Hold on, y'all, I'm grabbing this charger. I'm right here though.
Okay.
What was I about to say? And it's one of those things you have to learn and read for yourself, because if you don't read and don't know it for yourself, people can tell you anything. I was talking to a lady maybe a year or so ago, and she said, you know what? My pastor know the word. Ooh, he know the word. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, how do you know he know the word? Have you read the Bible? She said, he knows the Bible. I said, well, have you read it? Because the easiest way to get somebody to believe what you want them to believe is knowing that they have not did their own research. So if I sit there and I make it sound good, you're gonna be like, boy, she know what she's talking about, But I could be totally wrong. But you have to read the Bible and know the word for yourself.
But you also have to. It's just like they say, like there's a difference between being knowledgeable and being wise, having wisdom. Because I don't care how much you know about whatever the case may be. If you do not implement those things, it's for not. You might as well not know anything. You might as well be a bumbling idiot, because that's what you are. If you know something and then you still don't amplify that, exhibit that, then what is the point? And I feel like God is love, and so therefore, and then, but like when you love somebody, even with your kids, you're gonna discipline and you're gonna tell them that, hey, you know what? When you do X, Y, Z, this, HML, HMLK. No, that ain't it. HMLK, whatever.
You go over the alphabet. But it's. She prayed every night with the boys. Every night they get on their knees and they pray. And I feel like I'm at church, when the deacons is on that chair, this is about to be but she does it. And it's one of those things I don't want to say, because I don't want people to say, oh, she's old heathen. I have my own way of saying thank you or asking, and it's not on my knees and praying. And our oldest son asked me sometimes, Tasha, why you never pray? And he's 8. How do you explain that? Because I don't want him to feel that, oh, well, I'm going to be Buddhist, so I don't have to do X, Y, Z. You see what I'm saying? And it's hard for me sometimes when he asks me that. And she'll just say, well, stop asking her. I mean, but I
said, we're going to pray for her. Come on, let's go in. And we pray for him by name, okay? We ain't going to be no blanket prayer. We're going to pray for him by name. And I feel like kids have the sweetest and the sweetest souls, and they have the most uninterrupted gateway to the Lord. So I need y'all to pray for you, us, everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Our youngest son, I got to he was praying one. He said, Lord, please let me get some red pants. Because I want to wear some red pants and a silver shirt. I said, Lord, please don't answer that prayer. Because that'll be a hot mess. I said this to myself. But like she said, and somehow he ended up with some red pants
and a silver shirt.
Not so long after that, I said, Lord, heard. He heard him. He got the red pants. And I said, Lord, have mercy.
He got it.
But like you said, our kids are innocent, and their prayers are innocent.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want them to take on, my beliefs, because she's teaching a different way.
That makes sense, and that's respected. That's good that you can recognize that and respect that. And then eventually they'll make a decision as they get older, what they want.
We went to church every Sunday school, BTU.
But that gives them a foundation of something. You know what I'm saying? Because it's something. And I say, I like this religion. All I need is the faith of a mustard seed. I said, Lord, help me. Give it to me. Okay.
Yeah.
She's there.
And I'm there. But the whole thing, like I was we had introduced someone who came, that was frequently visiting us to prayer. And not that they probably never pray, but with the consistency that we do, we pray in the morning, pray at night. Baby, you come in the car, we praying before we leave this road, all that. We praying.
J Moss.
Okay, yeah.
Come on, J Moss.
And just because that you have somebody with you, I tell my kids all the time, you don't need no friends, you don't need your mama, you got God, and He is always with you. He's in you, and He gave us breath that was in you, and it's gonna be in you. So you always have somebody with you, but that's your brother. So you need to treat him, because if anybody jump on you, you need them. Hey, but that's my whole thing though. But But I said that because your faith is so strong, because you said that you and your husband went through so many things, but your faith is what kept you into the marriage, and your daughter is like excelling, and you just was. Tell us more about your family dynamic, because we, look at my wrist. I got time today. Hey. Because a lot of people give up on marriage so fast. Oh, he cheated, so I'm gonna leave. She did this, so I'm, she don't cook dinner, so I'm gonna leave. The first thing is I'm leaving, So
yes, and I'm telling you, I'm with you, Tasha, and that cleaning my friend. Cleaning is a frustration for me. Let me just say that, okay? I always had cleaning, and I'm looking for me somebody to come at least 2 days a week and clean up. Hello, I'm just saying. But no, and he is totally opposite. Like cleaning is his thing. But I think in that area, that's what we realize because of communication. He knows that I don't. Now, it's not that I don't clean. I will, but I just don't like to because it's a frustration. But for him, it's a relaxation.
Yeah, me too.
So you okay?
Damn it, huh?
I'm gonna put a foot in and a finger in where I can, but you know, like, but
Call me when you need me.
Call me when you need me. Yeah, I'm right here. But now I will say, and he says one thing about it: when I get upset, I'll clean the whole house top to bottom. He said, "Man, I like it when you make it." Because I don't have time to think about it, you know. But anyway, yeah, for us, it's definitely been our faith. And I won't go too much into details for him, which I say what I know he don't mind, but he grew up in one of those churches too, where there was no music and you sang from the hymn book they didn't have instruments or any of that. And so it was different for him because I grew up totally different. I grew up praying all the time. You know, my mama had Bible study at home.
That's
so every Thursday night we was in the house and she was giving us scriptures. We were going over them. You know, we were praying and she was praying in the spirit. And I'm like, I want that too. How you do that? Because that feel good when I feel, when you're doing that. So I grew up totally different. But what we've come to, what he realized was he wouldn't even go to church with me. Mm-hmm. He was probably just like you. He wouldn't go, and he hadn't been in many years. I don't remember, it wasn't that long, but it was very long. He said the last time I went to church was for a wedding. And that was my auntie wedding that many years ago, because he didn't like the experience he had. Mm-hmm. But with me, because my foundation and me being in Christ, like, you going to church. Mm-hmm. Every Sunday I was asking him, you going to church? You going to church? So he finally said, okay, I'm going. And then when he started to come, he'd go to sleep. I'm like, you might as well sleep. Now you making me look bad. I got to keep nudging you, telling you. And my mom was like, don't worry about it. He is there. He may be asleep, but his spirit is being fed. And that's what you want. So we went on, and the church that we belong to, and it's funny, it's the same church I experienced my church hurt, which is why you can't judge necessarily the entire church as a whole. Sometimes it's the people or the certain people in the church that carry out the actions, because the very same church helped him to become the man and the husband that he is to me today. And I often tell people, and he'll give credit, to that church. But and the changes in his life. But for us, it's always been rooted and grounded after that in our faith. For me, it was always faith. When he wasn't where he needed to be, he'd be asleep at night, and I'd be laying my hands on him, and I'd be speaking scriptures, and I'd be praying, and it's gonna happen, and it's gonna change. And some things I didn't see for years, but I knew that with God, because of experiences, with God, all things could change, and nobody could take those experiences away. So that's how I say that was the foundation. But then, like I say, after we got through that hump of maybe the first, 10 years. So it took a while. Then we started to really work on that communication piece that you were talking about. Because that's when we had started finding out about the generational curses that was in communicating. We realized that there's like the cleaning. For us, finances, I'm totally different. Me, I got to write everything down. I need to budget it all. I need to see how it goes. Him, it's in his head.
That's what mine's at.
He might want to talk about it. Okay, we're gonna pay sets. Okay, then we're gonna have this level. And I'm like, stop. I cannot do that. So I said that to him. You can have that. Like, as long as the bill paid, dude, you can have it. Don't even. So y'all, still to this day, and I don't like it now that I'm getting a little older, I don't have any of the bank apps on my phone. They're all on his phone. I gotta call him and be like, what's the deposit? I mean, what's the what we got left? Whatever, what do you call that thing, y'all? Balance. Thank you. That's the
what's the balance?
I had to come together with that term. But anyway, what we learned, and I'm saying that to say what we learned is we're different people. But it goes back to that puzzle. It doesn't mean that we don't fit. We just have to fit where we belong. And that's what helps us to continue to strive and get through our humps and our lumps and our bumps and our hiccups. But yeah, that's about it, I guess, unless you got more questions. I'll talk forever now.
No, I like that when you said that it's still not. What did you say? That you had to find out where you
fit.
Because not everybody, I don't think there's this like, and she say I like this fairy tale, this TV. But no, I don't like that. But we're two different people. But like you say, you got to get into where you fit. I mean, she deep clean where she's got a rag and on her hands and knees like Cinderella down there.
She getting it done.
Like, oh, that's different. I'm just gonna get this little bump with the little thing where you swish the water out. Oh, I'm not doing all that. But I think once you learn what somebody's weaknesses are, their strengths, and you accept that, I think that's what actually makes you closer. And I think she's coming to grips that if I see some dust, I'm just gonna keep walking past it like I didn't see it. I'm just gonna keep walking. She gonna come through and say, "You didn't see that dust? What dust?" Oh no, I didn't see it.
I see it. I ain't see nothing. But that's because that's not your focus in the relationship. Your focus. So even though you're not cleaning the dust, I'm sure it's something that you're doing that she don't see. Like, oh no, I didn't see.
I pretty much see it all, Lillie. I see it all, Miss Lillie. I got eyes in the back of my kids be like, Mama, you really do have eyes in the back of your. I see it. No,
that's the discernment then. You got I can't mess with that discernment. Listen.
But this is the thing, and I said a lot of time, I read this book, something about millionaire. But it is. What he said was a lot of times we focus on what's going wrong, and then you start doing more of what's going wrong. If you concentrate on what's going right and recognize that and give that attention, that focus, more of that will happen. And I said this is the thing, and so that even with the kids, because my little one, he on another level. He be all into different stuff. You just thank goodness you're not teaching kindergarten right now, okay? Because you have a different sermon. So
listen,
I said, you know what? Whatever he does well, we gotta really boost it up. We gotta really emphasize that, because the subconscious mind, if you say don't do this, don't do this, don't do that, that's the first thing people want to do, is the thing you saying not to do. But if you're saying good job on that, like he really is into being a police officer now. I said, baby, there's your badge. Teach me where it said. I said it's invisible because don't nobody need to know. I really see that, baby. I said, you know what? The police motto is to serve and protect. How are you going to protect if you acting out? You know what I'm saying? So he was like, he had the best week of his life. I'm telling you. She said,
look at you.
People doing it, then you give it to the teacher and say, oh, we creating snitches.
Hey, but it keep him from going running and telling every little thing, and then and it's teaching them how to write. You know what I'm saying? It's teaching them how to, because he'll quickly be like, I can't read. I said, if you keep saying you can't, you not.
You never.
So and I said, you know words. All you gotta do now is put them together. Okay, so stop playing with me. I said we're not an I can family, but we don't operate on that level. I can't. No, you just haven't done it yet. How about
you on your way? Yes, yet, not yet. I like that. I heard I think it was a YouTube with this little boy that was teaching other kids. What is it, kid president or something like that? But I think that's what he was talking about. The whole thing of not yet.
Not yet.
Instead of saying can't. So that's good. But you on target with that focus. That's one of the things that I say too, in any area. If you focus on more of what you want to see and less of what you see that you don't like you said, man, you'll be surprised at how you see things change. And that's worked in our relationship. It has. I be sending my husband messages talking about you're such a wonderful husband, and I thank you for what you did in XYZ, but I'm mad as all get out. because we just had a big old argument, but I had to get off of the argument and focus on what I want to see in him. Now, am I lying? No, because he is those things, you know, but I need to learn to affirm those things. And that's another thing we did to keep our marriage strong. I began to affirm my husband a lot. And I didn't know. And for some, they say that women should not affirm men, you know, because men supposed to already have it. But no, just like you praising your son, when I began to affirm him and tell him how wonderful he was and what of a great husband he was, a great provider and co-worker, just whatever. And it might be something as simple as, I'm glad you're my husband. Whatever it was, I could see the change. And I still do, because I still do it. I see the change in the relationship. I see the change in the marriage. I see the change in him, because now he's feeling more like I'm doing some good things, as opposed to, man, I ain't never doing nothing right for this girl. Because I can fuss, y'all. I'm just saying.
It's easy to fuss. It's easy to fuss, but when you have to slow down and recognize that, that takes a lot of inner work.
Yes.
And you know what? And a lot, like you said, I'm not lying. I'm just emphasizing the positivity, because that's what we want more of.
Right.
And you know, a lot of times people like when you were in that space, it's you can't see, like I said, you can't see the forest from the trees. You know, thank you. You can't see the forest from the trees because, and you blinded by that. I said, you don't want. I want the world to see you like I see you. I want the world to see your beauty, your sweetness, your intellect. And when your behavior isn't conducive to that, all they miss that. You don't allow the world to have that piece of you. You know what I'm saying? And so let's work on these things.
That's
so
good.
I was going to ask her a question.
Go ahead.
You know, you were saying that you have to do XYZ in your marriage, and a lot of people don't understand that when you're just dating, there's no real responsibility to each other. When you're dating, you're just dating. I come see you when I come see you, you come see me, we go have fun. But when you become married, now you respond. I don't want to, this may be the wrong word I'm about to use, but you become responsible for each other. What each other does affects the other one in such a big way. And it becomes not, I wouldn't say stressful, but I think it is stressful because you don't want to make the wrong mistake. You don't want your marriage to end. So it's like you maybe compensate, you know, well, okay, we need to do this better. We need to do that better. When, like you're saying, it's not that we're doing anything wrong. It's just that sometimes our expectations for one another in in a marriage is a lot higher. And I don't want to use that, but you may expect something out of somebody that they don't even know, like you say, that you're expecting that out of them. You know, and that speaks for myself. I may expect something from her that she don't even know that that's what I'm expecting. That's when you have to tell somebody, hey, I know I ain't perfect, but XYZ. Can you do this? Can you do that? And I think that's what a lot of people, especially with relationships and divorces, is at a high rate. And like you said, as soon as it get hard, people want to be divorced or get divorced. And it's sad, you know. And it's not something that, especially when kids are involved, it's not just your feelings anymore. It's the kids' feelings. You know?
Where's your question, ma'am? You said you had a question.
No. I forgot. I did have a question.
She just knew I was going to piggyback. I got you.
There you go. You know where I was going.
She know how it works. We just go. We flow. But yeah, no, I think that goes back to what we were saying about the communication, because what happens is that becomes unrealistic expectations. And then that is what causes for divorce, you know. But it goes back to what I was saying. That's selfish, because I set an expectation of my husband that he's not even able to rise up to, or because he didn't grow up that way. You know, I grew up with the Bible study all the time, but he didn't. He grew up seeing his mama clean. I'm talking about if you drop anything, she coming right behind you, you know, right then picking it up. So for him, everything is supposed to be neat and tidy, where my mom worked. So she didn't get to neat and tidy. She gave all the chores to us. In his house, mama said, don't worry about giving no kids chores. I'm going to get it. And then I'm going to fuss at y'all when it ain't, if you put something out of place the way I had it. So you have to take that into consideration when you're expecting something of your spouse that they may not be able to meet, So you're right. The expectations is huge, but communicate it. And I have learned one of our best ways to communicate is when we feeling good. When we feeling each other, we done had a few good days. And some people may argue and say, you know how to mess up a mood, but the delivery in it is everything. So if we having a good day, I may even say, baby, I am not perfect. And I mess up sometimes or something like that. And then I'll go into where, I think we need to talk about XYZ. Or I may ask him, what can I do to be better? To make our marriage better? Because I'm taking it off of him and I'm now I'm taking it off of him and putting it on me. But in that moment, he may very well reveal some of those expectations that I didn't know nothing about, and he wouldn't have given to me any other way. We even started challenges where it's like, how can I outlove you? We're gonna see who can outlove the other person, because like you said earlier, that love is something, man. When you can love, it overpowers everything. Because if I move in love for my husband, when I make a decision, I'm going to make it considering love. And then if you're doing it in that aspect, hopefully you won't feel as bad. You won't feel like it's you don't feel like it's an obligation. You feel like more of it's a joy.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure. I get to serve you today. I get to love my spouse today. And when it's done equally, it feels good, because it's like, I'm loving today, you loving, we both loving, we feeling good, we smiling. The kid, my daughter she know when we on good terms, because when we feeling good and we in sync, then she just be like, oh, okay, I can get whatever. So yeah, it's just all about how you do it, I think.
That's a good approach. And you know what? The Praying Couple Cooking Series that's in the chat right now, they always say love is an action word. So you demonstrate that not by what you're saying, by how you treat people.
That's it. Yes. And it's simple. Like those text messages to him as an affirmation, that was displaying my love. I can tell you I love you all day, but if I don't show you, you ain't gonna feel it, and you're gonna question it. And I used to question it with my husband all the time. I used to be like, do you really love me? He like, yeah, why you keep asking me that? And so eventually I began to communicate that, because I don't feel it. You don't show it. I need you. But that he wasn't used to seeing love being shown. He was he wasn't even used to really hearing it, So it was a challenge for him, but he rose up to the challenge.
But then that's a lot of, that's good. And because some people say, well, if I'm taking care of you, that means I love you. No, well, this can be expressed in many different ways. So let me help you help me.
I like that.
Because, a lot of relationships, they feel like, and I'm going to tell you, when we first got together, we didn't go on a date at all before we got married. And we know about it now, so I didn't want you to get used to something I wasn't gonna keep up.
We always want to go out on a date too. You be the main person that want a date now. I be like, look, I don't like going out. I don't like being around people like that. You know what I mean? Especially now that I know how this COVID and everything else is real. I'm real like, oh no.
Oh yeah.
Real. But the one thing I do love about her, and I think I've told her, but I may not have, is that the first person I've dated that wasn't materialistic. You didn't show how you felt about them by buying them a Gucci purse or, buying them some $800 shoes. And to me, that made me feel better, because that made me feel good, because you're not with me because of what I can give you or what you want from me, but because you actually, like she always tell me, I ain't gay, so I must really love you. I said, you gonna stop saying you ain't gay because you over here hooked up with a woman. So that's kind of like, you know. But she said, you know, it has to be love. So I feel that it took the sexuality out of it, and it was actually pure love on that aspect of it. You love me for the person, had nothing to do with who I was or what I had, yada yada yada, and vice versa. And somebody said, I can't remember where I read it, but it said when you go into a relationship not needing anything from either person, but just love. What I can't, basically, I can love myself, but what I need from another person. I can buy myself XYZ. She can buy herself XYZ. We give each other what we can't. That's compassion. That's love. That's the touching, the fit. You know, that to me, it worth more than somebody going out buying you an $800 purse.
We still talking about this $800 purse. We gotta let whoever. I ain't know. I know you.
I'm using an example. Louis Vuitton is what every black person know. I think that's the only brand they know. Louis Vuitton and Dooney and Burke. Dooney and Burke is coming back. I said, "You want a Dooney and Burke?" She said, "You better not come in here with those Dooney and Burke.
Don't do it.
Give me that in the X.
You know what I'm talking about? And that's what I mess my conversation. Like I'm the one that be looking at investments and all that kind of stuff. And she'd be like, okay, wait, whatever. I'm like,
I said, I just give you the money so you ain't got to ask me where, when, or what I spent it on. Because it's in my head. I ain't going to remember. What did you buy?
Please write it down. Write it down for me. I need to see it.
I know she ain't going to do nothing she ain't supposed to do with it.
Because I say this, I don't need the $2,000 or $3,000, $4,000, $8,000 purse because I would rather have the security knowing that when I'm 80 years old, I don't have to be not comfortable. You know what I mean?
Right.
But anyway, so everybody in the audience, we are about to conclude the live stream. Drawing to a close. If you have any questions for Miss Lillie, please go ahead and enter them into the chat. And
she got a lot of knowledge. She makes she's deep.
We want to see some podcasts, some non-for-profit, some
you talk to young girls. Something.
Yes. Because like the thing that you said that resonated the most with me is you were looking for something outside of yourself to feel validated, to feel important, and whatever. And that's the thing. I think if we ensure that our young people know that. That's why I'm telling you, mantras, affirmations, all of those things are things that I try to implement into our lives we wake up, we sing, we joyful, whatever. I don't know what's going to happen after that. But I say, hey, and each one of my children have their own mantra, and I have my own mantra. You know what I'm saying?
You didn't give me a mantra.
Because you are just unique and divinely.
I like the way you look how she's doing that.
Oh,
okay. Give her one anyway.
I need one.
Put it over there.
Great on. So do you have any final words for the audience and us before we go ahead and close down?
Let me see. I guess I just want to encourage, kind of reinforce something that we said. Watch your focus. That'll be my first thing. And that's no matter where you are. If it's relationship, if it's on your job, if it's even why do I do what I do? If you feel like you're chasing fame, or if you're not sure if you're chasing fame, ask yourself every time you make a decision to do something that you have to question, why am I making this decision? Is this truly what I want to do, or is this because I'm concerned about what somebody else may say if I do not do this? And just continue to do that. And after a while, journal it, jot it down, and go back and look. And if you see that most of your decisions are being made because you're concerned about what somebody else may think, then I want to challenge you just to change that and start chasing that freedom. Let me tell you, because it feels good. And the recognition that you get when you're free is much better than when you're chasing the fame. That fame is temporary. That freedom is a lifetime.
Boy, that was
yeah.
Yeah, you got to hear him write the book so we can read it every day. And I need you to write a relationship book.
Oh yes.
Seriously.
But yeah.
All right, like get you a podcast and do like a relationship episode at least once a month.
Well, my husband and I talked about it. We supposed to start one a while ago, just because, we'll have to talk on the other side about this whole relationship thing. That's actually one of my expertise areas.
Yes.
So yeah.
People stop listening to your single friends.
Well, I know.
Is that not true?
I think they offer a different perspective. Now, let me tell you, I'm gonna say this last story, and then I'm gonna go on, because I went to a nutritionist when right after I had my second son, because I was just, the weight just was coming and coming and coming and coming, and I was like, what is going on? She was explaining about hormones and all that kind of stuff. I said, that's all good. But when I went to her, I wasn't even open and receptive to her, because she didn't look the part. But this woman had a doggone PhD, MD, whatever she had, because she was elevated. She had all of the degrees. So what she had for me was knowledge, even though that she may not have. Because I was like, when I look back, I was just instantly turned off from it, because you have to, like she said, if you ain't never did it, how you gonna tell me? Whatever. And that was my mindset. But now I don't need that. I don't have to smoke crack to know it's bad for me. I can look at the experience of the crackhead and get that without going through that experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So therefore, I feel like the knowledge is power, and so share it, because a lot of times people get information they don't want to share because they don't want nobody to outgrow them. But baby, when you help other people grow, you grow. We all can shine. So yes, please, and we would do whatever we can to help elevate that coming into fruition, because that needs to happen. Like you said, that's your expertise. I love being hearing when people been together 20, 30, 40 years, and like they say, it ain't all roses and cream. You get me saying? Nobody saying that. I know I messed that one up. That's what I was going for.
Then the 2022 phrases. We got to get some new pictures.
Thank you.
Remix.
My great grandparents were married for 67 years, and she said not all those 67 years were perfect. She said she loved the little lies, the little pretty lies that my great grandfather used to tell her, and he's passed away now. But she said that the thing is, people give up too easy. Yeah. As soon as something go wrong, man, I'm out. And that grass ain't always green on the other side.
Yeah. And you gonna want that grass too. Even if that grass is pretty now, eventually that grass gonna need some tender love and care. It's gonna need some work too. So you might as well take what you have if it's workable, and go on and put the weeds or whatever, weed eater, whatever you need to put in that grass to get that grass back to where you need it to be. Yeah,
that's right. You go. Yeah, you just go to somebody else's lawn and get a whole new setup of weeds, real grass, weeds, ants. Yeah, I know that's right. Corn stalks.
You didn't see all that stuff under that grass in that soil, did you? Now it's coming up.
Once again, we want to thank everyone for being here. We appreciate your love and your support. If you would, please, after the live stream, leave a comment. If you like the content, especially leave us a comment so we know we can keep doing what we do in 2022 and beyond.
Trying to help other people through other people.
Yes. And Miss Lillie, do you have a social media or any way somebody can reach out to you?
I do. So on Instagram, I am beautiful_butterfly31. That is the best way to reach out to me.
Okay. Let me say that one more time.
Beautiful_butterfly31.
Beautiful _butterfly. See, I didn't even know your Instagram, but I knew that's what I see. Beautiful.
Yes, that's what it is. Them butterflies.
Butterfly.
Beautiful is what I have a problem with. It's beautiful, right?
Yeah, it's right. Okay, beautiful _butterfly. What was the other part?
31.
31. Okay. Boom. So, if you're interested in connecting with,
and they go look for boom.
I hope not. They know I say boom. Well, maybe
they may not be able to find me on the boom, but you'll see my my picture does say bloom.
Oh my gosh, that's what I'm talking about.
But
But
they
this is
are
a
right there
whole
with
nother
each other.
conversation.
Look at that.
I know.
I was just joking. Come
No,
on.
for real though. But I said that. But anyway, we want to thank everybody once again for being here. If you haven't already, please hit the thumbs up button. Once we end the live stream, leave us a comment down below. Appreciate the shares because they help us spread this information, this conversation on to other people. And we will see you all in the next one. Peace.
Bye.
Thank you. All right, let me end the stream.